Before the 2000s, the Springboks were the most hated rugby team in the world. That hatred stemmed from three areas. Number one, it was because of apartheid. Number two was because of the Springboks playing style. And number three, why they were hated was because of the arrogance the Springboks had. Now in the 1900s, the Springboks with the All Blacks, they were a level above all the other rugby teams in the world. And this was due to the traditional styles of play of both these countries, where the Springboks adopted a more physical, conservative kicking rugby type of approach, and New Zealand adopted an expansive type of approach. With the Springboks' recent success, that hatred is starting to re-emerge once again. Now, there is two gentlemen currently in world rugby, namely Mr. Clive Woodward and Mr. Ian Foster, that has plenty to say about the Springboks and also about Rassie Erasmus. So the other gentleman that has started to throw stones and shooting arrows towards the Springboks is none other than the Springboks' main rival, Mr. Ian Foster from the All Blacks. So Ian Foster, he basically came out today and said that the Springboks and the game they played against the Lions, the second test, it made him fall asleep. So I take it that the Springboks activated the melatonin in his brain cells, the hormone, to make him fall asleep, which is actually a good thing. Mind you that this game takes place at 4 a.m. in the morning in New Zealand. So an old gentleman like Mr. Foster would have been past his bedtime. So I do not know what this guy is talking about. But anyway, that's his opinion. So we've seen in the last couple of games between New Zealand and South Africa, New Zealand found it very hard to break South Africa down, even though they managed to win the Springboks in the opening game at the 2019 World Cup. But the way New Zealand is playing is actually the way that South Africa prefers teams to play against them. So this comment from Ian Foster, it basically provides more motivation for the Springboks. I bet you when the Rugby Championship begins and the week before the Springboks All Blacks game, this particular comments will be replayed to the squad, and it will fuel the motivation within the Springbok team for that game against the All Blacks. So thank you, Mr. Foster. We do appreciate that. Thank you very much. So rugby is a game that's being played between 30 gentlemen. Now, from the beginning of rugby, it was always known as a physical game. It is known as a game with fair amount of kicking. Bearing in mind, it came from the Northern Hemisphere. It was played in the Northern Hemisphere winter on pitches that didn't have water drainage systems. Most of the pitches that time were waterlogged, and kicking was the best way to get one team to the other end of the field. So kicking, physicality, all those stuff, it's imprinted in the DNA of rugby. Fortunately for the Springbok fans, and unfortunately for the others, for our rivals, that DNA is also part of the DNA of Springbok rugby. And that is basically what rugby is. It is a physical game. It doesn't matter how you win. Everybody plays the game to win. It doesn't matter how you win. Playing beautiful rugby doesn't mean that you will win World Cups every 4 years, or you will win Lion Tours every 12 years, or what the case may be, right? It's the team who ends up winning. It is basically the prerogative of the other team to try to break down what the Springboks are putting on the table. Now the Springboks, they tried their hand at expensive rugby. Most recently it was tried under Alistair Coetzee. By doing that, the Springboks ended, I think, 6th or 7th on the IRB world rankings. It is simply not in our DNA. From schoolboy level onwards, most of the schools, the successful schools, I would say, they opt to play a physical game that is based on physicality, set piece, kicking, defense. Then if that foundation is laid, then the attacking mindset and opportunities are put on the table. So I want to say to my fellow Springbok supporters, do not fall for this noise that the Springboks are playing boring rugby. Peter de Villiers is still coming out, the Springboks are playing boring, defending rugby. To me, it does not matter how we are playing. I've come through very bad times with the Springboks. The Springboks were battered, were humiliated, lost. And for those of us who endured those times as well, we just want this team in kicking and gold to win. It doesn't matter how they win. If the Boks have to defend, have to kick all day to grant the victory, bring it on. If it means it wins us World Cups and series wins, bring it on. Dan maak nie saak by my hoe die bokke wen nie. Hulle moet net wen. So Springbok supporters, please, my plea is, do not fall for the shenanigans of the Boks are playing boring rugby. We are all about winning rugby. So guys, that's my video. It's a little bit of a rant. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. But thank you guys. Until my next video.